Okay, welcome back to another episode of What If History Restarted, episode 47. Last time we saw the Industrial Revolution begin and have most of it happen. We also saw Korea's North American colonies rebel, including a native country, which is pretty interesting and unique. There's like the failed invasion of Baikal, the Holy Omani Empire, which has been here since the fall of Cypriot Empire, is officially dead, and it's just Oman now. And that's where we're going to be picking up. But first of all, the religion layer is probably pretty outdated, so we're going to update that real quick. Now I already recorded this intro, but then I went to pause the recording here to do a cool transition, and then I accidentally pressed the wrong button and stopped the recording. And yeah, that's just a funny story, so hopefully I don't do that again. And thankfully I did not press the wrong button. And here's the religion layer, fully updated now. So it's kind of similar to our timeline in a way, because the Americas are pretty much all just like replaced with colonizers, but Africa is actually still like diverse. I mean, obviously there's this whole red fiasco, but that's from like a long time ago. But yeah, the only like two pockets of not replaced by colonizers are the native rebellion up here, as well as this unclaimed area in the Amazon, which is inhabited by a bunch of tribes. Previously, these tribes were a few different ethnicities, but one of the ethnicities has managed to kind of unite them all under the same one, mainly through violence. And yeah, that is pretty much it. The Koreans and Chinese have reversed the effects of Baikal's genocide, at least a little bit. And yeah, I would say though that we probably see these Russian ethnicities slowly get merged into one, because like there's barely anyone here. The population is very low. And what's even? I guess those would probably be different still. But yeah, in fact, we might actually. Where's Golden Horde's borders? Yeah, I'd say it's probably all them now. So there is the religion map actually fully done. Maybe. I mean, what's right here? That's them, and then that's Baikal. We'll keep it. I think that's fun. Okay, but anyway, going into the actual world map now. We're going to go. Also, one quick thing. We're not going to the world map just yet. As you can see, there are like a lot of unclaimed areas in North Americas, but those just aren't like officially part of any countries yet. They're just kind of the Wild West, pretty much. I mean, they're not really. It's more like the Wild Middle, but whatever. It's sort of the same thing. And there's just settlers from all these different areas. As you can see, like I've said a million times, the religion layer is just the majority religion / ethnicity, not just the only ethnicity / religion. So like, you can see there's mostly Koreans over here, and mostly Tuscans over here, but like, there's still some like a lot of blending over here, pretty even populations in terms of what ethnicity. Okay, but anyway, now going to the actual world map. We're going to go over to the UK, where we're going to have our UK update. Belgium does nothing. Cities. We're gonna see that over in these areas, which we're gonna color all the same color. These are like the areas which still haven't been claimed by like a big country yet. There we go. So basically, there's some really big wars here, and pretty much the entire thing just gets replaced. And it's going to be a little bit less chaotic, as we now see that there's only going to be a few. Well, I mean, there's going to be 4 countries here, so not that bad in the grand scheme of things. They're slowly going the route of Oman. It looks more like an invasion from Belgium, so let's. Sure. And yeah, that is that. We do see that the Irish go to like war with the Scottish, and the kind of stalemates, and the Irish get this island, and that's about it. obviously probably a whole bunch of wars like that throughout history, but it's just we only talk about like the important things in this series. And we could also fix these cities up here because, well, we'll just wait until the UK is like finished. The Italian things are actually just kind of chilling. Throughout most of history, the Italian kingdoms have usually been pretty violent with each other, but these three are actually kind of just finally becoming countries. Also, I doubt there would be no major cities on Sardinia, so let's fix that. I'll even add, I'll add 2. And yeah, let's add 1 more right there. Okay, we're now going to go over to the blue team, who is apparently still invading the Azerbaijan team. And that is not true, because last episode they did go to war, but eventually it ended up being a stalemate, and no one got any land. So instead, we're going to see that the blue team changes up their strategy. Instead of invading Azerbaijan, they're instead going to go after this country right here. You can barely see that. You have to make it like this. So the blue team starts going into this country, and now the Caucasian Mountains are here, so it is very slow at first. But eventually they do get through, and they take this major city. From there, there's, like I said, the Caucasian Mountains. And so once the war gets to about this point, it stalemates again, and a new border is established, with the blue team getting a little bit more land. So, they're very, very slowly getting bigger. And we're going to stay in this area, because we actually see that this red team is going to take, not this red team, but this red team is going to be taking advantage of this weakened what color is this? Kind of light bluish, lavendery country, and it is going to invade it in its weakened state. And thankfully for it, it can just kind of go around the Caucasian Mountains. But then then we're going to see that the Azerbaijan team gets in on it as well. Then we see something kind of surprising, which is that the red team is going to sweep through it. Entire thing. They even get to the border of the blue team, and they have a nice old standoff, but thankfully it doesn't go anywhere. And so, as a result, we're going to see this country get fully partitioned. The kind of more maroon country will be getting this half, including this major city. Azerbaijan will be getting this. They're actually kind of starting to look like Azerbaijan. Just gotta give them well, that's like too big, I think, but something like that. And then the rest will go over to the red team. The blue team is definitely not happy about that. Thankfully, the red team just kind of goes into hibernation for now. Not for very long, probably, but yeah. We are now going to go over to, where should we? I have ideas, but I don't know which one I want to do first. We'll just come over to the Americas here, where we see some more expansion, and now this will be mostly following the majority religion layers, but as you can see, it's already kind of not that, so maybe it won't be. This country over here starts expanding a whole lot, especially to the south. Take all of that. This gold country just only gets a tiny bit. The native people are worried about securing all their people under one government away from colonizers. So they do that, and they meet up with this purple sort of prairie country. Alaska goes to the north a little bit, but not by that much. And they also do take this pixel. And there's some unexplored land right there, so let's fix that. And I think, yep, there's some unexplored ocean right here. Well, unexplored water. The purple team is pretty big, and it's not really going to do much more expansion because it doesn't want to get too big. Still does a little bit just to secure these more like native region, well, these more areas that more so border the native country, because they want to make that border clear. This colony up here is not revolting, but Denmark has seen that all the other North American colonies have rebelled, and other than this tiny little bit of all of Panama and what is that, Costa Rica? I want to say that's Costa Rica. Because, as I was saying, other than Panama and Costa Rica, all of North America has broken away from their colonizers. So, the Danish are doing their best to appease them. Thankfully, they have a pretty good route to get there, because they have very strong dominance right now over I believe this is called the North Sea, because Britain's kind of too divided to really do much. So they can pretty easily just go through here, and then to Iceland, and then bam, stop over in Greenland, and then bam. If they really want to, they can go bam to that vital city. And yeah. So because of that, this colony really isn't too unhappy being part of Denmark. And in fact, they're actually going to, they're actually going to be claiming some more land up here. Just a few islands. There's a total of 5 people living here. But yeah, it's fine. They'll take it. And yeah, I'll take this one too. Next up, we're gonna go over here to the Chinese colony. So this was formerly the African Union, you can see. And this place, well, honestly, by this point, I think that the red religion would probably get pushed back a little bit, because the red religion isn't exactly native to this area, if that makes sense. So I don't think it's as stable. So they'd probably be like that. They're just there now. Still, Neo-Hejaz has made their mark on the world via the religion layer. Technically they caused this Sudanese country to be created. But anyway, this was formerly part of the African Union, which was a whole big old thing. We're also going to expand the original yellow religion, because that would be cool. How about we just do it like that? Yeah, we'll just say that there's a resurgence of this ethnicity / religion. And these people were nationalistic. They were the last. They're kind of defending Africa. I mean, obviously there was the Gold Coast Caliphate as well, but they got beat up pretty quick. They were going on the offensive. But these guys are always on the defensive, just holding Africa down from Neo-Hejaz first, and then colonizers later. I mean, you could technically call Neo-Hejaz a colonizer, but it's only sort of. So they're pretty unhappy being under Chinese rule. China has a big old dictator right now, and he is not very nice to the colonies here, because he is massacring a lot of people. Anybody who speaks out against the Chinese government is immediately killed, and they do not like it down here. So we are going to see some rebellions. We'll just make them this sort of color. So of course this is going to be around the holy lakes, because these 3 lakes, which are Lake Victoria, Lake Malawi, and the one that starts with a T, might be Tanganyika, something along those lines. Probably not pronounced like that, but it's something similar. Yeah, these 3 lakes are the birthplace of all native African civilization, so they're very sacred, and the people here are very nationalistic. Obviously not really as much in the cities, because that's where most of the Chinese are living, but yeah, out here, this is where all the slaves are sent. Very not good, but that is the time period we are in. And so these guys meet up with each other, and then meet up with this group down here, and take over this. So everybody is kind of seeing as a bunch of colonies around the world are revolting. And right here, they're not exactly sure what to do. Well, hold on. Just going back to the first thing I was saying, colonies all over the world are revolting. But as you can see, it's like mostly starting with like the ones that are furthest from their home countries. So, like for example, we had the ones all the way in North America. Tuscany only has this one city on their coast to get to there. Then we had the ones all the way across the largest ocean in the world from Korea. So the south area might be coming up soon. There's also, I think this was the first colony to rebel, and it came from China, who, once again, biggest ocean in the world. Not to mention, they have a way worse navy than Korea. They actually kind of have like a comically bad navy. You can kind of see by like the whole like Baikal fiasco. But then you have ones that are more stable, such as Korea's colonies in Oceania. You have Tuscany's colony in Africa. These guys, Iberian countries, their colonies in northern Africa, as well as this Danish one. Denmark is actually just like really good at colonizing. I think that's their thing. They're just good at colonizing. The only other like exception is that like some of these countries like are just actually kind of good to their colonists, such as the Egyptian colony down here. This colony gets like pampered by these guys because they really want to control like this sort of area of the Atlantic. And so that just kind of leaves these guys around here, Catalonian, well, other than, these guys, but I just hinted at that, so, and these guys, I guess, but actually that's not really that far away. Well, from their core land, it's like, bam, it's not that far, compared to the other ones. So that just leaves these three, which are Catalonia's, China, and Korea. Now, as I've said, China is not only evil, but they also have a terrible navy. So it makes sense that this one is going to be breaking away pretty soon. But, the writing's on the wall for Korea and Catalonia's. Korea's is definitely more unstable. Catalonia is not too bad to the colonists or the natives down here. Both of them are pretty chill. But, yeah. It's not ideal. Because, they either have to go from their capital to their northern African colony, cross the Sahara Desert, and then boat out here, or they just have to go, from their northern coast, make a pit stop here, and then go back down. So it's not a fun journey. And of course, so going back over this, as we can see, this is a native rebellion, not a colonist rebellion, because, colonies, think of, a colony rebellion that's like an our timeline when the USA rebels from the English. Americans are really just the great grandkids of them. Well, those Americans are just the great grandkids of some British dudes. So that's just the colonizers who moved rebelling. Meanwhile, native rebellion, which is what we saw up here with Seattle, or what we're seeing right now, and that's when the actual natives that are being under control are revolting. And that's just one distinction I wanted to make. So, anyway, we see as the lake thing, taking advantage of China's terrible navy, manages to encircle their capital this very vital region, both to Chinese economy in their African colony, as well as just general, as well as traditional, just the old capital of the yellow team, which is the yellow team, red team, blue team, yellow team, green team. I think the green team was Cyprus, so I guess green team, orange team, pink team was Oman, purple team was Oman. They were the purple team, but now we have a different Oman. But yeah, so this is a very historically important region, and it is taken by these guys, who then reach out here and take this vital city, which also cuts the Chinese colony in two. So obviously things are not looking good for them. And now some other countries are debating what to do. So just taking note of who borders this, we have, countries who could theoretically invade this and try to get, increase their colony. But first of all, they're going to have to deal with, rebellions, which, as we can see, these people in this area are very rebellious, so that might not be fun. But even then, there's some other challenges. Like Korea is definitely not going to do it because they are best friends with China. Catalonia could, but they are on the star team, and China is on the triangle team. And the star team and the triangle team have actually kind of like started getting along, like by trading and all that. Like there's a lot of trade between this one and between all three of these colonies, really. And like over here as well, like the Galicians who are on, or well, the Portuguese really, who are on the star team are trading with the Koreans, stuff like that. So they don't really want to, make a potential ally an enemy. And that just leaves us with Oman, who probably also would then get declared war on by the Triangle Alliance, which includes this guy who literally borders their colony. And this colony is special because it's right next to Oman. So obviously Oman's colonies are no risk of rebelling. And, if this country started invading them, especially with the help of China and Korea, and have the red team take advantage of that, then that would be the end for them. So, in just like some mountainous terrain down here, it's going to make it pretty difficult to invade anyway. Now, Sparta, the square team, the triangle team are kind of just neutral to each other. They don't really care. However, they have been competing for colonies in some spaces, such as like down here, where you can see Tuscany like went right barely around these guys. So yeah. And I just realized this country is way too close in color to this one, which is the one we're going to talk about next, because we still didn't finish talking about Sparta. Sparta does not want to do this as well, because, the same reason. They definitely do not want these. If they attack the Chinese colony, China will be their enemy. They do not want to make the Star Team their enemy, because that would be strengthening the bond between, or the Triangle Alliance, excuse me. They definitely don't want to make the Triangle Team their enemy, because then that would get them even closer to the Star Team. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. And they definitely do not want to be coalitioned by both the Star and the Triangle Alliance, as well as maybe the Red Team, because I'm sure they would like Sparta. They would also like this country. Really, they would like the whole world, but you know what I mean. So, the only other option is this country right here. This country is interesting. It is kind of just established as this weird border country. Nobody really wants to colonize the Red Team people because they are evil. Not actually, but they're very passionate. Passional. That's a fun word that I just invented. But they're very nationalistic. And as well, they're obviously colonialism is very racist. And the red religion is seen as more dignified, like the blue religions in Europe. And obviously that's stupid, but that's the time period. We're in the 1800s right here. So this country is kind of just on its own. No one really hates it, and no one really wants it either. It's other than these three cities, which really aren't even that good. It's just desert for most of the country. I guess over here, around this lake, it might not be desert, but maybe in the south as well. But really, it's just not very worthwhile. So this country doesn't really have much to lose in terms of diplomatic standings, and it is going to invade the Chinese colony, which is taken very off guard. In fact, they reach all the way to the coast, and they definitely help out these guys finally kick out the Chinese. So we now get to see how this gets divided up. I did a whole lot of talking and not a whole lot of map coloring there. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. If that's more entertaining. But first of all, let's find a different color, because, like I said, it was way too close to that color. That looks ugly. That's too close to Denmark. It's too close to Catalonia. Could try and do could do that. They do border Oman, but Oman is about to not border them because this country's going to get land. So we'll stick with that. It'll be dark purple. So we have this colony be released as well it's all united under one country. These people were just part of the African Union, so it'll make sense for them to stay united. And in fact, no, I don't think we would see this be the African Union, as considering it, making it, the same color as the African Union. But I don't think that would happen. I think it's a different thing. But anyway, we still do have a African Union. It's not the African Union, which has been here since first few episodes. And then we have this pretty much just the Ethiopian area go over to the red team country, who about doubles its size and fills itself up with the yellow religion. So I'm sure this is not going to go anywhere. I'm sure this country is going to be perfectly stable. But we will not be seeing anything happen today. With that, we will be seeing that this country got the capital. Of course, it's going to make it here. This city, honestly, is probably more, economically valuable, but, it's just too good to have it here. That's, the traditional heritage site to end all traditional heritage sites. So they do not want to move it. And how long have I been recording for? 26 minutes. Yeah, we'll call it a day here. So that is what if civilization started over, not what if history Wait, no, I'm getting I'm getting the name of my own series mixed up with the name of with the name of the series that I ripped off. This is what if history restarted. The end. Forever. This is just how the series ends. Just absolutely destroys all the tension that we've been having. No. But yeah, part 48 will be coming out pretty soon. We're getting pretty close to the big 50.